minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast.
What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. Hey, we got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a big one. Bottom of the hour, Elaine Kulati. She is the independent candidate for the governor in the state of California, known as the female Donald Trump. So we will get to her at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk about issues going on in California. We may have at the top of the hour our regional director for our friends over at Americans for Prosperity, Elizabeth Patton. We'll see if we can't get her on. We have some big news going on in D.C. We have some votes happening and a heck of a lot more. That being said, make sure to like it out, share it out, leave that comment, break the algorithm. Let's do this thing for a pre-Friday celebration. Hang tight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your pre-Friday celebration. Greatest day of the entire week as we are setting that tone, doing the thing, carpe diemism all over the place, which is what we do here on the program each and every day. A lot going on, some big news happening just recently, couple hours, and I'm sure you've heard the headlines, some changes happening in the Trump administration, good, bad, or indifferent. I want to get your thoughts on some of that. We'll do that here in just a minute. Also, bottom of the hour, Elaine Kulati. She's the independent candidate for the governor of California. We'll chat. She'll chat with her. She is known as the female Donald Trump of California. What does that race look like as things begin to heat up for the midterm season of 2026? The primary for California's governor's race coming up on June 2nd. So things kind of all over the place. Here in Kansas, filing deadlines to run for office is June 1st. And other states have their deadlines coming up soon as well. But the primary race in California is June 2nd. So we will break that down with Elaine at the bottom of the hour. First and foremost, great to have you as usual, broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas on our flagship radio station. But we are all over the country with so many great stations across the nation doing our thing.
Do it live!
Like we do every single day here on the program. Of course, breaking news going on as of the past few hours. If you have not heard the breaking news.
What's trending today?
Yeah, where we apparently have some changes going on under the Trump administration. Now, before we talk about the change, whether it's a good idea, bad idea, very politically motivated, we have the Department of Homeland Security that is still shut down right now. In fact, the House is voting on potentially the opening or reopening of the DHS and funding of them here as we speak right now. So we'll try and get some updates as the program goes along. But before we do all that, I want to remind you, if you go back to the first Trump administration, there was a lot of turnaround. I mean, it was every couple of months we were seeing new heads of here, new secretary of this, new head of that. I mean, it was a turnaround central where Donald Trump was trying to get his bearings. He was trying to really see who was going to work with him, realizing that Washington, D.C. and the public sector, vastly different than the private sector. And it was a rotating door of staffers at the White House and heads of different departments and agencies. It was very frustrating for Donald Trump at that time. And the media at that time was very critical of Donald Trump because there was such high turnaround and why he was firing and hiring so many people so quickly. And it was really because Donald Trump expects something very particular, and he wants them to be working like he does, even though he only sleeps like an hour or two a night, which is kind of crazy. I don't even do that. I'm 37 years old. I like my sleep. I like sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night. I have to do that in order to function because I'm a very high intensity kind of guy during the day. So I work hard, but then I sleep hard, baby. I don't have a lot of dreams either just because I sleep too hard, just because that's the way we roll, right? But it's okay. It's all right. Yeah. But this administration, Trump 2.0, vastly different. We have not seen a change in a head of the cabinet since the beginning. We're over a year now with no changes in the cabinet. So this is the very first one. And it's I'm saddened. I got to say, I'm saddened. I like Kristi Noem, the head of Homeland Security. If you've not heard, she's officially out as the head of security or Department of Homeland Security. Now, that doesn't mean she's out of the Trump administration. The Democrats are excited, saying that she's officially been fired. That's been their big thing, is Kristi Noem's fired, and hooray. This fuels the fire for the Democrats with the ongoing defunding of Department of Homeland Security, the abolishment push for ICE, and the reforms that they want to see with federal law enforcement agencies. So this only fuels their fire. And I think on that front, this was probably a bad mistake because this kind of allows them to think that they have some type of control on the situation, even though right now we have a partial government shutdown with the Department of Homeland Security. So I will say I've been a fan of Kristi Noem. I think she's done a fantastic job. However, she is not done and out of it completely. And this is not an upheaval of the Trump administration, of them in panic mode. This is, I think, in my opinion, the prediction of the day here for the Voice of Reason. Where's our... Oh, there it is.
Andy's prediction.
Yeah, my prediction. This is nothing more than just a political move to get ICE back up and functioning, to get TSA funded, to get FEMA refunded under the Department of Homeland Security that is starting to drain themselves of funds. They're almost out there. Border security, all the issues that Donald Trump had promised to make sure happens, that right now we have Democrats that are hijacking this political movement, that are holding it hostage, and that have no problem shutting down the government and harming the American people for their political agenda. And it's really unfortunate. And I think that this maybe gives them more leverage than what they have, but at the same time, it was a big change. So if you've not heard the news, Donald Trump sent out the Truth Social, when was this? Oh, just about 2 hours ago. 3 hours ago, saying, I'm pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security, effective March 31st of 2026. The current Secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to a special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere. We are announcing on Saturday in Doral, Florida. I thank Kristi for her service at, quote, Homeland. It goes on to talk about the other stuff, but that's the main gist of this one. So I don't see this as a firing. That's what we have on the headline on Drudge Report. It's what we get from the Democrats. In fact, Hakeem Jeffries did a press conference earlier today and was giddy at the fact that Kristi Noem has been fired.
Kristi Noem has been fired.
No, she hasn't. She's got an upgrade. In fact, hold on. First off, let's just admit, if you're going from Department of Homeland Security and handling immigration customs enforcement, handling TSA, handling border security. Right now, she is in large part, along with all the other Border Patrol agents and everything else, obviously, but as the head of Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem has been one of the more intricate factors on the reason that we have a border that is completely sealed off. Zero crossings, or at least that we know of, zero crossings coming off across the border illegally. We have 3 million plus deportations of the nation in a year, which is pretty spectacular. Even though other administrations have done more over a 4-year term, that's not bad for a 1-year cycle, especially when we have these cities that are putting up their walls and that are fighting against the federal government on immigration enforcement overall. So overall, she's, in my opinion, done a spectacular job. She's done a great job. The 2 shootings in Minneapolis that were planned and orchestrated by the Democrats wanting to cause controversy instead of working with alongside and actually allowing immigration and customs enforcement to do what they need to do up in Minneapolis to get illegal criminal aliens off of the streets of that city. And then all of a sudden, after the 2 shootings, they're like, well, we did our job. All right, I guess we'll start working with you now. Yeah, it was kind of insane. So it was done, and it was done with intention because they despise someone like Kristi Noem. So Hakeem Jeffries giddy about this announcement today.
Kristi Noem has been fired, consistent with what we have demanded on behalf of the American people.
What we demanded. That's it's his demands. We're getting rid of Kristi Noem. This fuels their fire, and this is the only reason why I don't like this. Now, I'm excited because she's going from DHS to now a special envoy covering the entire Western Hemisphere, and that is the crumbling communism in Cuba. That is our new relationship with Venezuela. That is other issues going on in our Western Hemisphere. So she's got much grander responsibilities now. This is not just the security here on the home front. This is security in our entire hemisphere. I see this as a promotion for her. And I applaud her for that. Congratulations. I think that's pretty fantastic. But Democrats, she's being fired.
But let me also make clear, a change in personnel is not sufficient. We need a change in policy. And that has to be bold, dramatic, transformational, and meaningful. Kristi Noem.
Yeah, okay. So that's where they're at. I don't know where he gets off thinking he's relevant or important in some fashion. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Right now, the House is voting on a potential bill to reopen and refund Department of Homeland Security, and that's why the timing of this is kind of interesting, is the House is set to vote on it right now as we speak, that we get this announcement of Kristi Noem. Was this the political move of the Trump administration to say, hey, we need DHS to be reopened yet? You guys, you know, you can describe the Democrats however you'd like to as the ones that use the pressure and the suffering of the American people for their own political gain because they feel like they're the ones in tune with people. When we think that's actually kind of funny because it's not at all. It's not. So you can describe them however you'd like to do so, that they have held up our security for our nation hostage for their own political gain because they despise Kristi Noem and they use the examples of what happened up in Minneapolis. So the timing of this is impeccable as the House was ready to vote on this, and Donald Trump announces that we're going to slide in someone like Senator Markwayne Mullin. Now, if you don't know Markwayne Mullin is a former UFC fighter. Markwayne Mullin is a bodybuilder-esque. He's very fit. He goes really much along with the Maha movement, working with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and in fact beat RFK Jr. on his military training thing of like 50 chin-ups and 100 push-ups in 5 minutes or something, which is absolutely insane. So this guy is a beast. He has no problem standing up and going toe-to-toe with Democrats. He's been very vocal. He's a great senator out of the state of Oklahoma, just south of where I'm broadcasting from right now, and overall says he's really humbled with the fact because he wasn't even aware of it when the first thing he said he had to do was go and call his father.
What was your first reaction to just the news that you were nominated for this position, just amidst everything that's happening?
Humbling, because I had to call my dad, and because it happened quick, right? I had to call my wife and call my dad both, and it's just pretty humbling when you start thinking about it. A little kid from Westville, Oklahoma, gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So congratulations him. I think he would do a fantastic job. And look, if Kristi Noem intimidates you, and if you don't like Kristi Noem for being who she is by being the cowgirl from Wyoming or being from the Dakotas, I think she's from the Dakotas, obviously, being a former governor, but having the memoir where she had to shoot her dog because it was ill and all this other garbage they went after her for because she's just a good old gal from the Dakotas out in rural community. If that intimidates you with her going to D.C. and being able to be as strong-willed as she was, imagine working with someone like Markwayne Mullin, who openly, if you remember, one of my favorite clips was when he was in a Senate hearing committee with the Teamsters Union president and challenged him to a fight there and then because they had passwords back and forth on social media, and they said name the time and place, and he called him out right there in place, ready to go toe-to-toe with the dude. Like, that's hilarious. I think it's fantastic. So he's got to go through the Senate confirmation hearing, according to Donald Trump's statement on the Truth Social, that the transition will happen on March 31st at the end of this month, but he still has to be confirmed through the Senate. And Democrats, if they're angry with Kristi Noem, imagine what they're going to do being angry with Markwayne Mullin. I don't know how much he's going to compromise. I really don't. Maybe he's got a bit more of a level head on that front, but he's got to be tough. And Republicans, if you're doing these changes, we got to look, in my perspective, this has got to be done somewhat politically here. As we're voting to try and refund Department of Homeland Security, fine, let's do some changes. We'll put her on a special project, in my opinion, probably a bigger project right now, covering the entire hemisphere. We'll put a different guy in there. You guys know him. Go ahead and refund Department of Homeland Security, and let's get this stuff going. Very political move today. Not necessarily a bad move, but a very politically motivated move from the Trump administration, which surprises me, honestly, because the Trump administration doesn't usually do political moves like that. Maybe it's been a long time in coming, but Kristi Noem was out doing press conferences earlier today. She had no idea. As Mark Wayne Mullen mentioned, he had to call his wife and call his dad because he didn't know about this. So the fact that no one was prepared for this type of move tells me that it was more politically motivated than anything else. She's done a fantastic job. The press conference, I guess, yesterday really kind of threw her off her game, but I don't think that that was the telling moment. I really think it was the Trump admin looking to find a way to get DHS back open again, and if that's what it's going to take by Hakeem Jeffries thinking that I got the power, then they did that. But does that only fuel them more thinking they have some type of control or leverage in this situation? Again, it could have been avoided from the first start if Republicans refused to actually separate DHS funding from the rest of the appropriations bills, but here we are, and now we got to clean up that mess. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did two guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
All right, welcome back into the program. Great to have you here for a pre-Friday celebration. Greatest day of the entire week. You see that light at the end of the tunnel. By the way, we just got word, had tipped to Fox News on this one, posted about 20 minutes ago, right before we came on the air here, that the House did pass the funding for DHS. 4 Democrats voted to open it up. The rest of them still did not. So even with the changing of the ranking for Department of Homeland Security, removal of Kristi Noem, is hopes to get them on board. Again, you try to compromise, you try to work with Democrats, and it just doesn't work. They don't care. They are adamant. We want everything we want, and you have to get on board with us, or else you're the problem because you're not compromising and working alongside. I've told you this before, that the discussion and the definition today of compromise is not compromise. You give a little bit, I give a little bit. It's not the way it works with them at all. Their idea of compromise and bipartisanship is you get on board with our agenda, and we're the purists, and you do everything we want, or else you're the problem. And when the government shuts down, it's your fault because you're not doing what we want you to do. That is the idea of Democrats of compromise. The vote ended up going through with Republicans voting to pass it with a 221 to 209 vote overall, 4 Democrats voting for it. The rest of them not, even though Hakeem Jeffries is like, ha, we got Kristi. No, we got her. She's fired. All right, let's do it. The Senate, by the way, earlier today is still voting against reopening a DHS and refunding them. So Democrats and some Republicans over there are still not liking how things are. We'll continue to keep that one apprised. Want to tell you about my friends over at Lean. Everybody's still talking about weight loss injections because they're really dramatic with the results, and they work by lowering blood sugar and reducing appetite. Well, if you're looking to lose weight but not be interested in the painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of the intense side effects that you may have, that's why doctors created the weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are really remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it to energy, and curb your appetite and your cravings, so you're just not as hungry. But Lean is not for the casual dieter that only wants to lose a few pounds. Doctors with Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for the frustrated dieter that wants to lose at least 10 pounds or more, and we can get you started on that journey. Do not give up on your New Year's resolution. I have not changed a single habit in my life, and I've been taking Lean since the beginning of the year. I'm down over 10 pounds, and I feel amazing. You can get started as well with 20% off on your order and free rush shipping. When you add Lean to your healthy diet and your exercise plan, do it by going to our website at takelean.com. Takelean.com. Use the promo code REASON, REASON, for your discount. Get that 20% off and free rush shipping with takelean.com and use that promo code REASON. All right, so the definition of compromise from the Democrat Party still about what we expected. It's like, yeah, that's great. We got rid of one of your lackeys, Donald Trump, but we still are not happy. We want the complete reversal and abolition of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. I still put the blame on Republicans allowing that to happen in the first place. Markwayne Mullin, however, says he's not sure exactly what the next step is, and he is planning on talking with Kristi Noem, by the way.
Have you talked to Secretary Noem yet? Did you have
I
a
haven't.
chance
I'm actually, neither one of us had time to talk, so I'm going to go give her a call in just a second. You know, our families are very close, and this happened very quick, so we're gonna go have a conversation with her in just a second.
Yeah, everything seemed to be happening pretty quick and fast and furious today, more than likely with that hope to negotiate, compromise, find some middle ground on DHS funding. At the same time, by the way, where they did their vote on the DHS funding for both the House and the Senate, there was also a bill to try and rein in wartime powers from the executive branch because many are still unhappy with Donald Trump making the move that he did regarding the bombing of Iran. That failed in the Senate with a 53 vote. All Republicans except for one, you can guess who it is, Rand Paul, voted against the initiative, which is good because we want to still give Donald Trump the rein that he needs to on this one. One Democrat voted with Republicans on that one. The majority of the Democrats voted yes, with one Republican, Rand Paul, voting with the Democrats and the 2 independents on that initiative, trying to rein in power on Donald Trump when it comes to foreign affairs and the wartime powers. That didn't go anywhere, but I'm sure they will try that again very soon. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
truth, reason, and common sense. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Republicans love Donald Trump more than any president's own party supporters loved him at this particular point. Just take a look here. Okay, own party supporters, 21st century presidents, own party approval about at this point in the second term. Bush was at 77%. Obama was at 77%. Look at this. 86% of Republicans approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing at this point. That is higher than either Obama or Bush had within their own party at this point. Trump's magic touch has not seemed to wear off yet when it comes to the Republican base.
All right, so that's from, again, CNN. Andy, that's a poll. I get it, but it's CNN, and they don't like to talk nicely about Donald Trump. And when they're saying that right now popularity of Donald Trump still among his party in the MAGA movement, 86% plus, way higher than what we've seen with Barack Obama, with George Bush, with other. Obviously, as you notice, they also did not mention Joe Biden. Anybody notice that one?
Say what?
I know. That means the popularity for the MAGA movement is still there, regardless of what you hear in the mainstream media right now, and even some of the loud vocals in opposition right now of what's actually going on. We'll cover some more of that when we come back as well in just a bit. But Department of Homeland Security funding still not there. The House voted for it. Senate did not. So we still have some work to do on that. All right. But I want to shift gears.
What's trending today?
And we have a lot of podcast listeners. We don't have any stations out in California yet, but we have a lot of podcast listeners, which I do want to announce. Starting next week, we have a bunch new radio affiliates that are joining us for the program. I cannot wait to announce those. More news coming soon. But we have a lot of podcast listeners in California. As you know, June 2nd is coming up with your primary, and the race is really kind of interesting. Are we seeing the tide turn in California from the radical progressive weirdness that goes on in that state? And I'm excited to have on the program.
Let's go to the Hoosier Media Hotline.
One of the gubernatorial candidates for the governor of California. It's never going to get old. As we excited to have on the program, independent candidate, part of the MPP, the no party preference, independent candidate for governor in the state of California. Really happy to have on here Elaine Kulati. Elaine, how are you, my friend?
Hi, Andy. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. First off, I just heard, congratulations. Apparently you have to do a swearing for your run for governor before you even do anything else, and you did that today, so congratulations. Things are really starting to heat up now, it sounds like.
It's really great. You know, I just want to remind everybody that anybody that runs for office has to do a swearing to run, and the swearing is very clear that you're going to uphold the Constitution and you're going to uphold the Constitution of the state. And for anybody that you've watched, especially sitting during the State of the Union, these people are not upholding the Constitution and they should not be in office. And they swore an oath and they are held to a higher standard, and I was reminded of that today. They should not be in office if they cannot stand up at the State of the Union.
It's kind of wild that you have a current governor right now that apparently took that swearing when he ran for office and has not done much to uphold the Constitution out in California, it seems like.
Or he's rewriting it. I mean, it's even one step further than that. You know, it's just crazy some of the things they write these amendments to our Constitution, and they push them through with a handful of super social, Democrats that think that they're going to be able to extract more money from Californians that are hardworking. It's just unbelievable what's happened here.
Yeah, it really is. You have been deemed in this race as the female Donald Trump of California, and I can only imagine how well that goes off in some communities around the state. But I got to ask you, California has gone so far off the deep end in so many ways. Are we starting to see a tide turn in California? Are enough people finally waking up and saying, maybe we should try something a little bit different here?
I definitely hope so. From your mouth to God's ears is what my dad used to always say, and I believe wholeheartedly that there is a really important push in California to change the top management of Sacramento. I don't know that push is in our big cities because they're metropolises and they're very much they're left at the mercy of Sacramento. We have this thing called unfunded mandates in California, and we rip people off on their sales tax. I mean, there's just a million reasons why little tiny towns all across the 430-some towns in California don't have any money. And so, if you don't have any money, you don't really have a lot of power, and that's the problem. And Sacramento is starving all our small towns. So let's hope for a change at the top level.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I'd love to see some of those changes. I know that the legislature in California has had some pretty radical bills that they've tried to run through, and even to the point where, and I get it, Gavin Newsom's trying to look for the 2028 presidential race right now, so that's where his eyes are set on, but oppose some type of wealth tax. The legislature really trying to ram this one down the throats. I mean, even like you said, even these large metropolises, they have a lot of wealthy individuals that hold a lot of power, but eventually you would think they would get tired of some of the BS that's going on too.
Well, clearly, I think through the kind of introduction of these mansion and billionaires taxes and taxes on the wealth or wealth taxes, you've definitely seen an exodus of people that have a lot of money that could otherwise change the state, and they just, they throw in the towel and leave.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you're just leaving a bunch of people that are struggling, which is a broken middle class. Our broken middle class it's strip mined virtually. I mean, I used to hear Bobby Kennedy say that and other people say that, and now that I'm witnessing it, I can honestly tell you that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. We're talking with Elaine Culotti, candidate for governor in the state of California, which you can find her website at culottiforcalifornia.com, culottiforcalifornia.com. Let's talk about agriculture for a moment. I know that you have a little bit of background in the farming and agricultural industry. We've had, coming from Kansas, where I'm based out of with our flagship, we've had a vast majority of your dairy production and dairy companies leave California and move out here to Nebraska, to Kansas, to Oklahoma, to our areas because of the high regulation, because of the high taxes and the way that California operates. What's the state of agriculture look like outside of those large cities?
Well, you have such an incredible resource in California called the Central Valley. The Central Valley produces about 80% of the produce, nuts, and stone fruits for the United States. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And what's happened, I think, over the course of 3 decades is water has become such a problem that only the strong survive. And so what they're doing is trying to crush the small farmer. We have about 80,000 small farmers. That's down from 88,000 in the last 3 years. And also, the small farming struggles so much that a lot of them can't afford to even pay the dues for the Farm Bureau, which is like $275 a year, and only half of the small farmers are signed up for that.
Yeah.
I come into a small farmer category, and I'm also North San Diego County, which is really expensive real estate, so anything that I do is really more in optics.
Yeah.
We do a lot of CSA boxes, and we deliver a lot of food to schools and things like that, but it's very regulated. There's not like a free-for-all Western kind of mentality. You have so much red tape, and the red tape applies to farming as well as all the other industries. And as governor, that is something that I seek to get rid of completely, is to let people work and have more homesteading and allow people to farm.
Now, I was going to say, it seems like that seems to be the theme across the entire state of California in general, right? It's just the push to try and deregulate. Everything's so highly regulated on every front, isn't it?
It's I can't even, with the Palisades fires, what I've seen with permitting and things like that, and that's the whole problem with Upper Top Brass at Sacramento. That is where it begins. Weirdly, it's not actually the cities. The problem is if there's no real economic development in your state, and this applies across America. If you don't have real economic development, the only way the city survives is through taxes, licensing, fees, fines, all the things that make it impossible to work. And the less money you have, you'll see, the higher the taxes and the more the cost of doing business and the more fees, the more fines, the more they go after wealthy people because they've done it backwards. It's an upside down cake. Yeah. You have to work, earn tax money, then pay the taxes. That's economic development.
That is so wild. It is so wild how everything's done out there. You mentioned the wildfires and the regulation on there. We saw the disaster of those major wildfires, a year or two ago already. And the fact that, we have this legislation in California where you can't go clean out the dead trees and you can't get rid of this brush that's essentially kindled just sitting there. I grew up in Colorado. I know that was a major aspect for us because we had so many wildfires that there were programs to try and get rid of all the dead underbrush and the dead trees lying around to prevent as much wildfire spread as we possibly can. Why in the world would California try and say, no, you just got to leave that stuff there and hope it doesn't catch fire?
Well, I mean, this comes down to what's generally wrong with these great ideas. I always say, good intentions pave the road to hell. So the whole idea was that we would, protect brush thistle. And then, of course, decades and decades of protecting brush thistle, you essentially live in like a Kindle barn. And so anything will blow you to smithereens, and that's exactly what happened. And the EPA has these great ideas to, sort of make the water cleaner, make the air better, and make the soil cultivated. This is what EPA is supposed to be doing, those 3 tent poles. But not in California. We put them on the Green New Deal and tell them to tell everybody to get rid of gasoline, and they get so busy that they forget about the brush thistle. And for 3 decades, we don't cut it, and then everyone's surprised. Like, it's just insane to me.
Yeah, it really is. We got a couple minutes left here, Elaine, and I appreciate your time as we talk with the independent governor for the state of California. Kulati for California.com is the website. Go and check her website out. So I know that California has so many directions that need to be fixed and so many things you need to address, but what are some of the top main priorities if you get to be governor of that state on what you'd like to focus on?
100% economic development is number one, because that's our affordability factor. When people tell you they can't afford to live here, that's because only 17.5 million people pay taxes out of 40 million. That's the problem. You know, economic development is the problem. It's not whether you have transgender in schools. That's just to keep you not looking at what the real problem is. The real problem is that we need to get back to work, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And from that money will come money to fund police and schools and fire and EMT and all the things that keep your streets safe and clean. Yeah. Safe and clean. Homeless people, the whole situation makes everything dirty. I am wholly focused on cleaning up homeless with actually moving homeless into places that are already waiting for them. Get rid of all the people in the middle. And we in California do not allow audits because our supreme leader, Weirdo, will not let you do audits on any of their NGOs, special interests, and all their stuff. He's actually written a bill to stop you from auditing it. On day one, we will audit everything.
I love it. You got a lot of work to do. It's going to be a hassle. And you can, when you said clean up the streets and help get rid of homelessness, not just do it when the president of China comes to show up in California either. Elaine, good luck on the campaign trail, my friend. We love it. Got to get you back on and do it again soon.
Thank you, Andy. I'll be on any time for you. And if you need any help in California with an audience, let me know.
I love it. We'll make it happen. Let's talk. It'll be fun. Elaine Kulati, go check her out. Back after this here for The Voice of Reason.
Hooser.
Big government is broken. Every year, politicians fail to pass a budget as the deficit continues to grow. Every month, unelected bureaucrats pile on rules no one voted for, strangling our economy. And every day, DC's broken system gets in the way of the American dream. Washington isn't working, and the people pay the price. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe it's time to fix the system. Now, join the movement to make government work.
Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. how will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Put forward the statistics that 0 illegals released into the U.S. for 10 months straight have not crossed, okay? That nearly 3 million aliens have left the United States, that we have the lowest murder rate in 125 years, that fentanyl trafficking is down 56% at the border, and daily encounters have gone down 96%. Hang on one second. We need a strong border, especially now with our current global situation. And I believe that you may say you don't want border control and you're against ICE, but I actually don't believe you in your daily lives. How many people in the audience here had to go through security to get here? Raise your hand, just be honest. Otherwise you go to jail, I guess, for illegal trespassing, right? This is an authorized audience. They had to go through security to get through the border, to get right here, to just hear us talk. We need strong borders more than ever right now. We are being infiltrated.
Oh, that just really upset the bickering hens that were on The View. Of course, that was, who was that? That was Elizabeth Hasselbeck, and going after The View. Yeah, we have the southern border that's locked down. We have immigration under control. We need DHS funding. We got to get this going. And you could hear them getting really angry, just building up that tension, man. They were about to blow. How dare you praise Donald Trump and the immigration policy? How dare you do that? Thanks again to Elaine Kulati coming on the program, independent candidate for governor of the state of California. That was great. I really enjoy speaking with her. She's ready to rock and roll. Hopefully we can see some changes going on in California. I was looking at some of the polls right now, and I just love seeing everything's kind of, right now there's no real definite leader in that race for California. What I do find quite ironic is that we do have some Democrats that just aren't gaining any traction, especially that guy, Eric Swalwell, probably because, well, he spent a little bit too much time with Fang, if you know what I mean, and he's not doing well in the polls for some of the top 5 candidates, but out of them, they're all in the teens for popularity for the major candidates, Republican, Democrats, but then the other candidates, the independents, 30%, which means there's a large portion of voters in California that just don't know where to go yet. And I think someone can really stand out and make a difference there. Elaine being deemed is the female Donald Trump of California. Look, just to throw out speculation, I'm not endorsing anybody here, but just pure speculation on this one. How has California been, how has their mindset been throughout the years? Ronald Reagan back in the day was a Republican as he was the governor of California, and he was a Hollywood guy, and he worked with the Hollywood unions, and he was part of that, I don't want to say elite group, but he was part of kind of that society. and he was able to run as a Republican. Now, obviously, things have changed since then, but Donald Trump coming out of California as well to some degree, coming out of Hollywood, having that Hollywood background. Elaine, the same thing, a business person. She was under the show, what was that, The Undercover Billionaire? So she's got some Hollywood stuff going on there as well. Like, she's got kind of that same mindset. So if anybody's able to kind of rattle the cage and do something different, maybe it's that. Something to think about, something to speculate on. Very interesting. All right, real quick, we got a few minutes left here.
What's trending today?
Other issues going on. Trump administration today holding up again one of those promises made, promises kept, holding a press conference and the signing of the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. He announced it during the State of the Union. That was just a week or so ago, where he was there signing the Ratepayer Protection Pledge that essentially makes those that are looking to create data centers and very large facilities across the nation actually have to cover their own energy usage so they're not straining the grid, and therefore it doesn't raise utility rates for anybody else.
For a historic signing that will help keep down utility bills very, very substantially, and electricity prices for millions of Americans, and in many cases for a lot of people that don't really understand why they're going up, but they're not going to be going up, they're going to be actually going down. Today we follow through on an announcement I made in my State of the Union address last week, as America's largest tech companies officially signed the Ratepayer Protection Pledge. It's a big deal. It's going to have a tremendous impact on electricity costs. We're bringing down all of the costs. We have this little interlude to do what we have to do, because we had it going, but these interludes are very important.
Yeah, all right. You know what I love about this, with this signing of this Ratepayer Protection Pledge? This is not price control, like the Democrats tried to do, like Joe Biden tried to do, and to be honest, like Donald Trump's tried to do with healthcare and some of the, like, Trump RX and that sort of thing. It's not price control. This is, we have a lot of changes of technology. The technology's demanding a lot of energy. Every time that you ask AI a simple question, you, boom, right there have dumped 5 gallons of water into a computer system to keep it cool in order to answer that question with how crazy this stuff is. It takes a lot of energy. This is not price control. This is saying if you're going to suck that much energy off the grid, yeah, you would pay for a lot of it, but it strains the grid in general, which makes the prices go up for everybody else. If you're going to do this stuff, you got to create your own energy. You have to come up with your own solar panels, windmills, nuclear site, whatever it is. That way you're independent, you're off the grid, and this could lower the demand that we have that would lower the prices for everybody else. Promises made, promises kept, and dealing with that affordability, which Democrats are just so angry that he's addressing on his own. Back at it again tomorrow for a Friday. We'll see you on the radio. Bye. As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked